Okay. Alright. Yesterday we have this rehearsal. Okay. Itu tahu.
Okey, kita akan bersiaran dalam masa kiraan 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello? Hello? Hello, testing. Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good afternoon. The Honorable Dr. Ahmad Rafi bin Cik Kasim, Deputy Director General of Education, Teacher Professional Development Sector, Ministry of Education Malaysia, Madam Hafizah binti Omar, Senior Principal Assistant Director, Technical Vocational Training and Education Division, Ministry of Education Malaysia, T.S. Haji Shanusi bin Haji Ahmad, Director of Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College, Mr. Rosli bin Syakban, Chairman of Vocational Colleges and Technical Schools in Pahang Zone, Dr. Muhammad Yanwar Hariawan, Director of Caltex Riau Polytechnic Indonesia, Mr. Berthold Orman, Director of Berliner Platz Beruf College Germany, the committee members of CEO at Faculty KVSAS, directors of vocational colleges, headmasters of technical schools, respected Tvet teachers, educators, and our viewers. It gives us a great pleasure to welcome all of you at the Tvet International Online Forum, Tvet in Time of COVID-19, Challenges and Opportunities, organized by CEO at Faculty KVSAS in collaboration with Technical Vocational Training and Education Division, Vocational Colleges and Technical Schools in Pahang Zone, Caltex Riau Polytechnic Indonesia, and Berliner Platz Beruf College Germany. I am Marina Rahman, a teacher from Tun Hussein On Vocational College and also a representative from CEO at Faculty KVSAS. Ladies and gentlemen, today's forum is a maiden step in our journey to organize and manage an online forum at an international scale. We believe that later, this effort will be stepped up to closer involvement between these three nations, which may include programs for students and teachers. In this forum, we will listen to experiences and best practices from Malaysia, Indonesia, and Germany in handling and coping with the unprecedented disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic in their technical and vocational education landscape. This discussion will be moderated by T.S. Haji Shanusi bin Haji Ahmad, the Director of Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College. For your information, this session is broadcast in the college's official YouTube channel. So feel free to say hi and give us some of your feedback. Besides, we will give you 2 links throughout the forum in our chat box. First, the attendance link, and second, a link to generate digital certificate. Therefore, our dear audience, stay with us, and I'm very sure it is going to be a fruitful afternoon to spend with. A huge thank you to all of you for joining us in this afternoon's forum, be it in the Zoom platform or in the YouTube channel. Without further ado, we will hand over the session to our moderator, T.S. Haji Shanusi bin Haji Ahmad, Director of Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College. That is all from us, the Secretariat. Over to you, Tuan Haji.
Well, thank you, Madam Marina. The Honorable Dr. Ahmad Rafi bin Cik Kasim, Deputy Director General of Education, Teacher Professional Development Sector, Ministry of Education Malaysia. Madam Hafizah binti Omar, Senior Principal Assistant Director, Technical Vocational Training and Education Division, Ministry of Education Malaysia. Mr. Rosli bin Sha'ban, Chairman of Vocational Colleges and Technical Schools in Pahang Zone. Dr. Muhammad Yanwar Hariawan, Director of Caltech Riau Polytechnic Indonesia. Mr. Bethol Oman, Director of Berliners Plus Beruf College Germany. The committee members of CEO at faculty from Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College, directors of vocational colleges, headmasters of technical schools, respected Tvet teachers, educators, and our viewers. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. It is an honor for me to welcome everyone today to Tvet International Online Forum with the theme Tvet in the time of COVID-19 challenges and opportunities, hosted in our mini studio at Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College, Pahang, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed to our next agenda today, we are blessed of this Holy Friday to have our forum being officially graced by our Deputy Director General of Education, Teacher Professional Development Sector. Let us give a warm welcome to the Honorable Dr. Ahmad Rafi bin Cik Kasim to deliver his officiating speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Madam Hajah Zanarah binti Haji Ahmad, Director of Technical and Vocational Training and Education Division, Ministry of Education Malaysia. Technologist Haji Sanusi bin Haji Ahmad, Director of Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College, the main organizer and our moderator. Mr. Rosli bin Sha'ban, Chairman of Vocational Colleges and Technical Schools in Pahang Zone, the co-organizer. Dr. Muhammad Yanwar Hariawan, Director of Caltech Riau Polytechnic Indonesia. Mr. Bethol Oman, Director of Berliner Platz Beruf College Germany. CEO at Faculty, Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College, Kuala Lumpur. Passionate Tibet teachers, educators, and our viewers. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Tvet International Online Forum, Tvet in time of COVID-19, challenges and opportunities. Congratulations to the organizer for organizing such an important event, which is a collaborative effort involving several institutions from Malaysia, Germany, and Indonesia, despite numerous challenges faced in the current situation. I would like to also acknowledge the support provided by the Vocational Training and Technical Divisions, VPLTV, and the collaborative effort portrayed by vocational colleges and technical schools in the state of Pahang. It is a great pleasure to have Caltex Riau Polytechnic from Indonesia and Berliner Platz Beru College from Germany, and their presence is much appreciated. I hope everyone will have fruitful discussions and exchanges. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic has enormously affected education around the globe. The scale of impact may differ from one country to another. Based on the data collected by UNESCO in July 2021, more than 680 million learners in over 29 countries have been highly affected by the pandemic. I strongly believe that all of us play a pivotal role in ensuring students are not left behind in learning during this crisis. We have to ensure educational institutions are not affected by the spread of this virus, which will eventually affect our students. Due to the high number of COVID-19 cases in Malaysia, preventive measures have been taken by closing schools, including Tvet institutions, until it is safe for our students to resume their studies. The COVID-19 pandemic and the related lockdown and physical distancing measures caused not only unprecedented disruption in the provisions of education and training, but also catalyzed innovation in distance learning. While access to learning and skills development is maintained in some contexts, through a rapid shift to online learning in technical and vocational and training or Tvet, access to the equipment needed for practical work deprive the Tvet students of continued learning and put them at risk of falling further behind. With only a few exceptions, the increased adoption of online learning has not facilitated the acquisition of practical skills and organization of work-based learning, which are essential components for the success of technical and vocational education, as 70% of students' learning and assessment is emphasized, which is further enhanced with practical work. Therefore, we do anticipate the significant impact on students' learning and assessment with vocational colleges forced to close. However, transition from the physical to virtual classroom has not been smooth. We are all aware of the current COVID-19 pandemic, the most significant health crisis that the world has faced in the past 100 years. It has disrupted our way of living with unprecedented consequences for our daily lives, including how we work and learn. However, it is undeniably that educators will strive to produce quality online learning and teaching innovatively. Parents have taken great effort to provide the necessary gadgets to our students that have advanced ICT skills, enabling them to reach greater heights. On that note, teachers and students seize the opportunities to participate in online competitions at national and international levels, which is a new norm. Ladies and gentlemen, Tvet, in the time of COVID-19, opportunities and challenges, which is the theme for today's forum, we should acknowledge that the pandemic has brought about challenges as well as opportunities. Therefore, I believe today's forum will be interesting because we will listen to the experiences, struggles, and effective approaches that Malaysia, Indonesia, and Germany have taken to combat the impact of COVID-19 pandemic in their respective countries, particularly in the Tvet setting. Ladies and gentlemen, my heartfelt thanks and utmost gratitude to the Technical and Vocational Training and Education Division, vocational colleges and technical schools in the state of Pahang, and to our distinguished panelists from Indonesia and Germany. Congratulations to CEO and faculty of Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College and esteemed members for coordinating today's event in making this online forum a reality. As for the viewers, I hope that the discussion in this forum will help us discover some approaches and strategies that will strengthen the Tvet institutions during the pandemic and develop greater resilience to overcome the situation. I wish the forum every success in its deliberations. On that note, I officially declare the opening of Tvet International Online Forum, Tvet in time of COVID-19 challenges and opportunities. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, today's forum is very special for our college because we managed to gather 3 distinguished panelists representing vocational colleges in Malaysia and Germany, and also a polytechnic from Indonesia. We believe their vast experiences and expertise in technical and vocational contact will contribute a lot in our forum today. Without further ado, let me introduce all of our panelists. The first panelist is Madam Hafizah binti Omar, Senior Principal Assistant Director, who is here on behalf of Director of Technical Vocational Training and Education Division, Ministry of Education. Thank you, Madam, for making the time to be with us in this event. The second panelist, Dr. Muhammad Yanwar Hariawan, Director of Caltech Riau Polytechnic Indonesia. It is such a great pleasure to have him in this forum. He has led the institution to be one of the best private Tvet institutions in Indonesia. Congratulations and welcome, Pak Yanwar. Finally, our third panelist has to wake up very early in the morning for the sake of our forum today, Mr. Berthold Oman from Berliner Beruf College, Germany. Mr. Oman and I became friends in 2019 when we met in Germany for a month's visit. He has been the director at the college since 2017. It is refreshing to have you here today, Mr. Oman. Welcome. Willkommen. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe by right, every sane adult on earth would agree and acknowledge that the COVID-19 pandemic is the most significant health crisis that the world has faced in the past 100 years. It has disrupted our way of living with never seen before consequences for our daily life, including how we work and learn. As teachers, educators, and policymakers, it is alarming when it is reported by World Bank that close to 1.6 billion students worldwide were affected by school closures as a result of the raging virus. Thus, today's forum is going to focus on what Tvet institutions, particularly in vocational colleges and polytechnic, have done to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 when it attacked the globe last year. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me explain the format of today's forum. There will be 4 rounds of discussion. Each round consists of 1 question which will be addressed by each speaker by turns. The speaker will give their responses within the specified time frame. Without further ado, let us start the ball rolling with the first question. We would like each of you to introduce yourself and your institution that you are affiliated with. We shall start with Malaysia. Madam Hafizah, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Tuan Haji Sanusi Haji Ahmad, the Honorable Dr. Ahmad Rafi bin Kasim, the Deputy Director General of Education, Ministry of Education Malaysia. Mr. Rosli Shakban, Chairman of Vocational Colleges and Technical Schools in Pahang Zone. Respectful panelists for today's forum, Dr. Muhammad Yanwar Hariawan from the Director of Caltex Riau Polytechnic, Indonesia. Mr. Berthol Ohman, I hope I've pronounced it right, the Director of Berliner Platz Beruf College, is it? Germany, thank you. The committee members of CEO at Faculty KVSAS, Directors of Vocational Colleges, Principals of Technical Schools, respected Tvet teachers, educators, and our viewers. Thank you so much for having me in this fruitful forum today. And first and foremost, I would like to extend my appreciation to Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College, in particular for the efforts taken in organizing this forum. I am Hafiza Omar, as introduced, Senior Principal Assistant Director of Technical Vocational Education and Training Division, Ministry of Education Malaysia, and I am honored to be here today in this forum representing my director and division in sharing our perspectives on opportunities and challenges faced during COVID-19 pandemic in delivering Tvet programs. The Technical and Vocational Education and Training Division, or known as BPLTV, is a division that is responsible in planning, implementing, evaluating, and improving Tvet programs under the Ministry of Education Malaysia. And we are also responsible in expanding collaborations and networking with other government agencies, private agencies, Tvet institutions, be it public or private, and of course industries. And these collaborations mainly focus on transfer of technology, skills, and knowledge. And the ultimate goal is actually to produce skilled human capital for the nation through quality Tvet programs. So at present, Tvet programs are carried out at 87 vocational colleges, 9 technical secondary schools, and 545 secondary schools. So the programs offered at technical schools and secondary schools are for 16 to 17-year-old students, whereas at vocational colleges, the colleges offer for the students at the age of 16 to 20 years old. Yeah. And the vocational colleges offer a 4.5-year diploma programs. And the first 2 years is certificate level, and the next 2.5 years is diploma level. And at the certificate level is offered to 16-year-old students, and these students can continue their studies for diploma level and graduating at the age of 20 or to 21 years old. And the program structure is actually centrally developed, and also the curriculum is centrally developed by BPLTV with the involvement of the academia and industry experts who are referred as Technical Advisory Committee, together with experienced vocational college teachers. And the assessment also for the students is actually centrally developed. The learning structure covers 70% practical work and 30% theory. The curriculum, known as Curriculum Standard College Vocational, or KSKV, is also mapped with National Occupational Skills Standards, NOS, which is endorsed by the Ministry of Human Resource. So students actually they are being given diploma certificates by the Ministry of Education, and also they are given certificate for their competencies by the Human Ministry Resource. And the central part of the program is actually final year project and on-the-job training. These two are the vital components of KSKV. And as far as quality is concerned, the diploma programs are accredited by the Malaysian Qualification Agency, MQA, and Malaysian Board of Technologies, MBOT. And I think my time is up, and this is all for the overview about the BPLTV, about BPLTV division. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Hafizah. Now let us hear it from Indonesia. Dr. Muhammad Yanwar, in 3 minutes, Doctor.
Thank you, Haji Sanusi. My name is Muhammad Yanwar Hariawan. I am the Director of Polytechnic Caltech Riau, located in Pekanbaru, Riau Province, Indonesia. It is private vocational institution. We are one of the very rare private polytechnic in Indonesia, because most of polytechnic in Indonesia are state-owned polytechnic. Our campus was established in 2001 by PT Caltech Pacific Indonesia. Establishment was in cooperation with Riau Province government. So, Caltech provided infrastructure and facilities Riau Province government. Riau Province government provided the land and permit. At the beginning of our operation, we were fully supported by Caltech, Chevron, and by 2007, we are financially independent and no longer funded by Chevron, because that was the goal when our campus was first established, to be financially independent. Polytechnic Caltech Riau is quite diverse in terms of students and staffs. Our students come from different culture, religion, and ethnicity. Our staff are also quite colorful. They graduate from various universities in Indonesia and overseas. Most of our lecturers are young, so they are very energetic and full of spirit. We offer 11 study programs, 5 diploma study programs, namely electronic engineering, computer engineering, mechatronic engineering, telecommunication engineering, and accounting. And also 5 bachelor study programs, namely informatic engineering, electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and information system. And 1 applied master degree, applied computer engineering. Currently, we are on the process of converting our diploma program to become bachelor. So the Ministry of Education encourages campus in Indonesia that still has diploma program to convert into bachelor program. 7 out of 11 study programs that we have are A accredited. That's all short introduction for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Yanwar. Let us have Mr. Oman introduce himself and his institution to us this afternoon. Mr. Oman, please proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sanusi. Dear honorable members of the forum, dear colleagues, and also dear friends, thank you very much for the invitation for today's forum. Let me introduce myself. My name is Bertolt Hohmann. 4 years ago, I started my career as director here at the vocational school, Berufskolleg Berliner Platz in Arnsberg. Our vocational school is situated right in the middle of Germany, in the federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia, very close to the city of Dortmund. Our institution is government founded from the regional distinction government. The staff is paid by the federal state. The capacity of our institution, we have about 2,100 students. We have about 100 teachers with an average age of about 50 years, and 7 colleagues as administration staff. Our main field are the programs offered in the dual system of vocational training in several fields. For example, automotive engineering, electronic engineering, sanitary energy and supply engineering, media design, and in the field of business administration, management and economics, for example, office, tax, and industrial clerks. We also offer a program for medical assistants. There are several types of schools. For example, in the full-time schooling system, secondary school with vocational subjects on the level of a general certificate of secondary education exams. Then in the field of further education college for engineering, arts, structural engineering, electrical engineering, and business administration and management. Also, in the sixth form, we provide courses for A-level exams. And then a very important field, advanced further training courses for engineering, which are comparable to a bachelor's degree. And within this coming year, we start in the field of business administration, especially in the field of e-commerce. Thank you very much.
That's the end of our first round. So let us move to the second round. The question is, when the pandemic struck back in early 2020, how did it impact the routine of the institutions? This time around, let us begin with Indonesia. Dr. Muhammad Yanwar, please.
Thank you. The government provide blanket order to make sure that things will keep running due to the pandemic that hit us started from 2020. Basically, any decision related to education institution is in the hand of the institution itself. But the government, through the Ministry of Education, gives general guidance related to teaching process, health protocol, and so on. Periodically, our government will publish a notice regarding learning and teaching process in each region. When the curve of COVID-19 case seems to be declining, schools are allowed to reopen and students can go back to school. But it will be monitored based on the process of the COVID case. So we are really depending on the notice given by the government. Of course, the decision taken is based on the consideration of everyone's good. So we will follow whatever the instruction will be. The COVID condition in Indonesia varies from one region to another. That is why the policy applied is also different. For example, in Pekanbaru itself, some institutions are allowed to conduct offline teaching based on its capability, commencing from facilities readiness to COVID protocol implementation. Started from March 2021, Polytechnic Caltex is one of the 2 higher institutions in Pekanbaru that's already got the approval from the authorities to conduct offline class, which now is limited to lab practice only with the term and condition of 50% lab capacity. It was quite a fresh air when we were finally able to reopen our campus to students, especially the 2020 generation who have not attended any single class on campus because they enrolled in the beginning of pandemic. For Polytechnic students, lab practice is everything for them. That is the enjoyment that was taken during online learning. So when they finally came to campus, we could see their happiness, taking pictures here and there. Although the capacity was still limited up to 50%, we could still see their spirit. But in June 2021, the curve of COVID case inclined again in our province, So the government decided to stop offline learning and we go back online. Until now, we are still running everything online. We go back to work from home. The financial assistance from government is not directly given to institutions. One of the affected parties during COVID-19 pandemic is a student. In this case, the government allocate partial subsidies for our students in order to be able to pay their tuition fee. This support is given only for the students who are financially affected by the pandemic. For example, those whose parents got laid off or experience bankruptcy. Students who are in such condition can register themselves, and campus will have to validate whether they are eligible or not to receive this subsidy. The government also provides internet quota subsidy to all active students and lecturers to support online learning. This is very helpful because we know online learning requires internet quota, and especially in Indonesia, many households do not have Wi-Fi. Internet connection is also a major issue because many students live in a remote area which are not well covered by high-speed internet. There are several efforts done by the local government to deal with this problem, such as providing a hotspot in one particular public area so the student can access the internet. In the beginning of pandemic outbreak, Polytechnic Caltech adjusted all teaching process into online learning. We believe it's not the ideal condition, both for students and lecturers, especially for those who are in the vocational education. But then we have to cope with this situation and we need to move on. We do not have the option to just stay and not moving forward. We oblige our lecturers to transform their material into digital form. Some lab practice that can be done remotely are conducted such way. Some are conducted by using online meeting platforms such as Zoom and Google Meet. Thank you.
We have listened to the East. Let us listen from the West. Please welcome Mr. Oman.
Yeah, Mr. Shanuzi, thank you very much. Let me tell you about our views concerning the Corona pandemic. With regard to shutdown in March, April in 2020, and also in December, January, February, the government give us a blanket order. We also get a blanket order within starting we call it face-to-face lessons now in May. At the moment, the situation is quite normal because curve of cases is quite low in Germany due to the fact that now in Germany we have a summertime. The government also gave order concerning a mask obligation and respectively requirement. Later on also they gave us order to adjust the test conditions and the conditions for conducting the exams. As I told you, we opened in about April and March with some programs. We started face-to-face learning in specific classes where it seemed necessary, useful, and also practicable. These classes or programs indeed were the classes who were very close to the exams in May and June. So in these cases, we preferred face-to-face learning. There was not very much support from the government concerning IT equipment, masks, and so on. The program started quite late in 2020 when the federal government in Berlin started a new program. So what changes has the institution made to adapt with the changes, especially when it comes to practical work, which deems the most critical in Tvet scenario? This is a special program. I will give my view on the case later on. Okay, in the first step, we set up general rules for distance, hygiene, and something like this. Then we started with parting the classes, splitting in groups, with one group per day or week, with the other group in digital distance learning, either being linked up by the use of digital media or supplied with tasks to be worked on an individual basis at home. We also made a setup of a cloud-based file exchange in the first step, later connected with messenger and video conferencing systems, including use of videos and other digital materials provided by private and also government partners and publishers. Then an optional supply of technical equipment for students who were not able to afford it or are not outfitted with appropriate equipment. Unfortunately, just to talk friendly, the Wi-Fi at home was a bottleneck concerning the private environment. In fact, Wi-Fi was a problem for a lot of students, and then a lot of things did not work properly. Due to the demand of practical work, lessons were reduced. The work lessons were reduced to the sizes of the group depending on the type of work. For example, it depends on the in the field or the program our students work. For example, automotive engineering differs from electronical engineering. And so the room size and also sometimes the setting of the group, and in some cases we only worked with 5 or 6 students in one workshop, but so we were able to carry out practical work. But in the workshop, and this costs a lot of time, we had to do, this was also blanket order by the government, extensive disinfection measures that were necessary every day, sometimes once an hour. So this costs a lot of time. And now we were happy that nowadays we got quite normal conditions, but we're a little scared about the question what happens during the next weeks and months, because we face autumn here in Germany. Thank you very much.
All right, the last speaker for the second round. We would like to hear from Malaysia. Please, Madam Hafizah. Switch on your microphone, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. I will address this question from BPL TV as a division from MOE perspective. Yeah, the impact of COVID-19 has been very devastating, and it has led to social distress affecting the whole country and all over the world, including a huge disruption in education system. And on 18th March 2020, the government of Malaysia implemented the first Movement Control Order, MCO, for the whole nation. And adhering to the nation MCO, the Ministry of Education had to close all its educational institutions, such as schools and colleges, including Tvet institutions. And during the initial stage of MCO, all measures and preventive actions taken by MOE were based on National Security Council directives. And institution leaders were given briefings and guidelines on handling situations at their premises, and safety measures.
Your microphone, Puan Hafizah, your microphone.
Sorry. So everybody has to be involved, and the administrators, the teachers, the students, the cleaning service team, and the food service team. And this is to avoid the risk of infection within the premise. And stopping the spread has become everybody's responsibility. And for the school closure has impacted actually the vital part of the Tvet learning, which is practical skills and the assessment, as mentioned by our two panelists. In the case of vocational colleges, the main challenge is in ensuring learning continuity, as practical skills and assessment can hardly be done remotely. And actually this needs intervention from our division and also the management of vocational colleges. And eventually it has been agreed that the division and vocational colleges need to reassess, revisit, reshape three main dimensions. The first is the administrative dimension of the college. And the second is vocational and pedagogical dimension. And the third is human resource and financial dimension. So vocational colleges have to implement adequate safety and health measure in all conducts. Compliance to standard operating procedure by the National Security Council and the Ministry of Health is compulsory to all. And physical arrangements of classroom layout, skills workstations, hostels, and dining halls are rearranged in compliance with NSC and the Ministry of Health. And this is where we are talking about social distancing has to be actually practiced by all. Sanitizations are consistently done to all parts of the premise. Social distancing, hand sanitization, and mask wearing are compulsory for everybody in the premise. Guidelines were set up for colleges as reference, and special task force unit at ministerial level is set up to monitor every operational aspects of vocational colleges in curbing the spread and catering to anxious stakeholders, especially the parents and the students themselves. So most importantly, college management has to find, this is the vital part of the management of the college, is actually to find available online tools and applications to set up meetings, giving directives, online teaching and learning, and also monitoring. And the next challenge is actually reassessing the implementation of curriculum delivery and assessments. The implementation of curriculum and assessment in Tvet institutions, especially in vocational colleges, has to change drastically and responsive to the new norm. And what we actually focus is actually everybody has to adapt and adopt the concept of flexibility. So virtual mode needs to replace the conventional face-to-face mode. And this actually, the sudden shift to home-based or online learning require teachers to be creative and flexible. This has imposed an impact for the teachers as well, while the teaching, all this while, the teaching and assessment of practical skills, especially has been done face-to-face at workstations using real machines or real tools and applications. And this has to be done now in a virtual way. So teachers find themselves in need of professional training to adopt and adapt to these requirements. And to address this issue, what we do from our division is actually to have teachers sent for virtual workshops and courses on choosing and getting familiar with online tools, platforms, and social media platforms that can be utilized for e-learning classes. And teachers have also attended workshops and courses on content development for e-learning or for educational pack that is relevant for their programs. And eventually, after extensive planning, based on good practices from other Tvet institutions, locally and globally, as well as advisory notes from accreditation agencies. Our division, BPLTV, has come up with guidelines on curriculum delivery, pedagogy, assessment, final year project, and on-the-job training that adhere to the new norms. And these guidelines is actually of help to the teachers in delivering the teaching and learning of Tvet modules. All these guidelines are explained and shared to all vocational colleges. And as we know, the need of the hour is to innovate and implement alternative approaches, methods, and strategies of learning and assessment. But on a positive note, as the title of the forum today, on the positive note, we actually look at this COVID-19 pandemic as it has actually provided us with an opportunity to pave the way for introducing and embracing digital platforms as a tool for management and teaching and learning, which was quite alien for a lot of people then. So during this home-based learning, teachers and students from various vocational colleges have joined and presented in multiple online seminars, workshops, conferences, and taking part in innovative competitions locally and internationally, which actually was very rare before. So everybody now has become open to this new virtual way of exchanging ideas and exchanging ways of teaching the approaches. So for example, on 24th to 25th May 2021, our students, AD DX Romzi from a student of electrical technology program from Keninga Vocational College, for example, displayed his final year project of smart storage box virtually at Humanitarian and Emergency Logistics Innovation Expo, HELIC 2021. And his showcase project has been presented at a French online conference last year, and he won a bronze medal at a recent online innovation contest. So this is actually a positive side of the current situation in this new norm. So our students have actually utilized the online platforms as best as they can, and they've taken a lot of opportunities to actually share and to actually take part in competitions. So, for example, one innovation from the students, they have presented their final year project in a normal teaching and learning. They would have presented their final year project in the classroom or at the college. But this time round, the students have presented their final year project online to be assessed by their teachers. So this actually involves e-assessment. So the teachers will actually give marks based on the presentation online. And some colleges have actually have come to the extent that they have designed their learning management system that is of the management, teachers, and students in dealing with learning continuity. I give one example, Encik Zainuri Mat, a teacher from Pasir Mas Vocational College. He has won a gold award for his vocational college management system, a kind of LMS, at International Innovation ARSVOT Malaysia on 10th April 2021. So that is another positive side of what this pandemic has done to us all. And the teachers, as mentioned by our panels earlier, they have also created their own virtual content in terms of videos. They have come out with TikTok. Even though we at first we thought TikTok was silly, but then now TikTok has become a trend actually now. And the teachers, the young ones, they have come up with their own TikToks actually to enhance the effectiveness of their lessons, because the problem faced by the teachers is actually the students are not interested to join online classes. And secondly is actually they have problems with internet connectivity to join, and they become less and lesser interested in joining the classroom. So that is why teachers, the good ones, the innovative ones, they come out with fresh ideas for the young people to actually attract them. And one good thing about this pandemic is that meetings and trainings, for example, that we have now, forum, we can sit together virtually. Here today, for example, we get to see our friend from Indonesia and our friend from Germany via a virtual forum. And this is the beauty of a pandemic as well. And before this, all the meetings and trainings, we have done it conventionally. And everybody, like Mr. Sanusi has to fly over to Germany for the course, and the beauty is that he becomes friend with Mr. Oman. Okay, so now since we cannot move around, the mobility is very limited, and this is the beauty of having meetings and forums and webinars virtually. So this is, I think, the positive note of pandemic, the new norm today. Okay, back to you, Mr. Sanusi.
Oh, thank you. That's the end of our second round. As we can hear from all of our panelists, each country has been affected by the pandemic, and each one of us has adapted our routines to suit the current situation. Now, let's move to the third round. The question is, in 7 minutes, please share with us effective approaches and strategies taken during pandemic to ensure learning continuity, especially in skills development of the students. Well, for this question, we would like our partner from Germany to give his response. The floor is yours, Mr. Oman.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sanusi. Our approach was the first step. Of course, we changed consistently to online schooling. We started to establish teacher training in 2018, about 1.5 years before the pandemic started, because we made up our mind and thought about the challenges concerning digital learning and teaching. We started in the first round with teacher training concerning apps like Trello and Padlet. And when we had to start with the online schooling, this was very helpful. The background for us is that you have to put a lot of energy in this question. At the moment, we're building up our new school. We got completely new school building with about 70 classrooms with full digital equipment. And though we have to think about the fact what we have to do to use all this equipment quite effectively. And so when the pandemic started, we also used Zoom and something like that to enhance our capability to go on with video conferencing. But then the most important step was 1 year ago, when we decided to shift to Microsoft 365 Teams, for example, and all the apps in this application. And this was a very important and also a very, very successful step. not because of conducting a video conferencing, but also to organize all the learning in the classes within the programs, and very important, to enhance the communication with the colleagues within the school, and also with our dual partners. As I told you, our main programs are established in the field of dual vocational training. About 1,400 students are learning inside the dual vocational training system, and so we had to keep a close contact with the companies who conduct the practical part of the training. And 365 was very, very helpful. We also started to enhance our Wi-Fi system in the old buildings. So the regional government allowed us to put some money also in the old building, and so we enhanced our digital facilities also of the students, and also concerning the equipment and also the training of the teachers. This was very, very important. The implementation of Teams was done, and then in addition to this, we established an electronic class book. This was also very helpful because then we had something like controlling also in the phases of homeschooling concerning the development of the students, about the competences and so on. This was very, very helpful. We also used more sophisticated software, for example, for online tests. Maybe you know the application Microsoft Forms. This was also very helpful, and also for oral examinations. Since a lot of years, we take part within European student exchange programs. Of course, during the pandemic, there was also a shutdown concerning these programs, but during the phase of the pandemic, we started to take part in the so-called e-twinning program of the European Union. This was a very interesting step, and this was also a very successful step. Another very important point, I only want to talk about the technical aspects of the pandemic, is that 1 year ago, in August 2020, we established a broad system of school social work, because a lot of students needed more and more personal advice and help. For example, psychological support, career guidance, support in case on conflicts in the family, which increased during the pandemic, and so on. This was also a very important step. Another important step was we established a system of digital further teacher training within a special platform that was provided by the federal government of Northern Westphalia. And so the teachers can enhance their competences concerning digital learning within also digital teacher training measures. That was also very successful. Thank you very much.
Next, we shall listen to Malaysia's experience. Please welcome Madam Hafizah.
Okay, thank you. And okay, as we all agree, the most challenging issue that for Tvet institutions in this pandemic era is that the delivery of practical skills and training, and also assessment for Tvet students. And in order to make sure that we cater the students' competencies within limited physical contact hours, we come up with strategies to optimize learning outcomes. And as have been said, of course, through online or home-based learning. and when the students get back together, it is through face-to-face sessions. When the first MCO was announced, it was followed by school closure, and classes were running, but the timetable was not changed. But the only thing that changed is actually the method or the approaches by the teachers. So we set up task force units which act as support team for the colleges in dealing with program delivery and assessment. Okay, so within these weeks, teachers are advised to emphasize on theoretical part of the course during this home-based teaching and learning, and cognitive-based assessment was carried out first. And we have also developed a platform to monitor the progress of online teaching and learning. And acting as a support system, the task force unit set up by our division teamed up with selected vocational colleges teachers to develop teaching and learning guidelines in a new norm. And we have produced documents. And for this teaching and learning, it is called Garis Panduan PDP Norma Baharu, the teaching and learning in a new norm. And this is a very helpful approach, because the teachers actually, by referring to the guidelines, they are actually given insights on how they can approach home base, because there are various ways that you can approach home base. And also in the guidelines, we advise that if they have problems with connectivity, they can do it off-site, or they can actually go and use a premise with good connectivity, or they can come out with education pack where they actually come up with modules. And a lot of cases, actually colleges, they actually send the learning packs for the students. And some colleges, for example, in the remote area, they actually go to the houses, to the parents, and they deliver the notes, because they cannot handle it online. Okay, so we also come up with a guideline on how to actually carry out on-the-job training, because on-the-job training is a crucial part of our learning. So for on-the-job training, we also have alternatives in how to carry out. And for some programs, on-the-job training can be done not by actually being physically be at the industries. We actually turn it to be situational based. Students have to actually come up with solutions to solve problems facing by industries. For example, they are given situations and they need to actually come up with a paper, with a proposal to how actually solve the problems given. So that is how, that is one alternative way of doing it. And it is quite easy for programs which is not highly technical. For example, IT programs, but for it is very challenging to technical or technology programs. Yeah, but I think by having this guideline on the conduct of on-the-job training, we are also actually we are giving them ways to be flexible on delivering on-the-job training. And also talking about final year project, as I mentioned earlier, teachers by referring to our guidelines and also combining with their own efforts and innovations, so students actually do their final year project at home, and they actually presented their final year project online. And actually some of the students, they video themselves doing the project and they present it. And the project is also being assessed by the teachers and also being watched by fellow friends online. Okay, and by having these guidelines, we actually sit down with the teachers for briefing session, and as I mentioned earlier, we are talking about teachers need to understand the concept of online, offline, or various social media platforms. You can actually use a lot of media platforms. You can use even WhatsApp to actually do your teaching or do your simple quiz via WhatsApp if the students don't have connectivity. Okay, and for practical skills, as I said earlier, they have developed their own virtual videos, and there are a lot of teachers who actually have the collection of VR, virtual reality content. And what is good about some of the teachers that we have, one of these teachers that I know, he has developed videos on technology programs, and he actually put it on his Facebook and in an open source where everybody, all the teachers, all the students can get access to the content. And also the effort from our division is actually we have developed e-repository system in which we actually have materials, content, videos being stocked up in this repository. And we actually also have advisory notes put up there for references. We put all the guidelines in the repository, and this is also an open access for all, be it the management or the teachers at vocational colleges. So that is how we actually handle as best as we could to help in this condition. And assessment can be done in flexible modes. Rubrics and marking for project assignments and on-the-job training are redesigned to suit assessment modes in this new norm. And we believe that we need to be responsive in our support and our approach for the teachers. And of course, another big challenge, as I said, is actually internet connectivity or accessibility. So that is a huge problem faced by our colleges. And at ministry level, we also give support. And some of this is the time where some of the colleges, they have public-private partnership or collaboration. For example, one vocational college is actually partnering up with local bank to get support in terms of gadgets or handphones or laptops for the students, especially those in rural areas and for those who have problems economically. Okay, and for example, also in terms of this, our ministry, we have actually also deal with telecommunication companies to actually supply data plan and distribute learning devices for underprivileged students. And also the ministry has collaborated with Media Prima Berhad, Malaysia's leading media group, and MOE has its own TV channel called Didik TV KPM to air educational programs such as lessons for various subjects, including Tvet practical lessons hosted by the school teachers themselves. So that is one effort by the ministry with Media Prima. And this is, I think, a strategic approach because Didik TV, for example, when you are watching television, then if you have connectivity problem, so the only resort is actually by watching your programs or your lessons aired on television. and the programs can be watched, okay, at any time by the students. And also these programs are connected to YouTube as well. So if the students miss out real time of the when they air the program, they can actually watch it later on YouTube. Okay, and recently, actually I myself have a meeting with this company, industry, which is called SGMT Technologies in Berhad, and they have just sent out a letter, and this company actually has agreed to loan free of charge CNC virtual simulator for industrial machining program for all vocational colleges that offer this program, and the company is giving out a free loan for 1 year, and also a free online training for the teachers, and that soon will be materialized. And this is some of the efforts taken at the ministerial level. And as far as training is concerned, the provision is allocated for virtual courses as mentioned earlier, and this is actually planned by Professional Training Development Unit in our division, and we've been trying very hard to actually have special training for teachers based on the programs or the field that they are teaching. So we actually customized the programs for the teachers. And as Malaysia now is under MCO version 3.0, still the schools are still closed, and we are now actually arranging and we are planning on how to face the moment when we can actually go back to school or go back to colleges. And right now we are actually planning it in doing it on rotation basis, which means we actually we will be very selective on rotation, which cohort will actually go first face to face. So by doing so, in choosing which cohort will go when the school reopen or the colleges reopen, we will have to, what we have done is actually we sit down and we remap the curriculum so that we know that the cohort or the semester which has modules for practical skills, this particular cohort will go first in terms of priority when the school reopen. And we are now actually restructuring our calendar year as well. Then we wait for the minister to actually announce it, and we are ready with our backup plans when the moment comes. And everybody is looking forward for the school to be reopened, so that as Dr. Yanwa said, students are very excited actually to be together again, going back to colleges or to schools face to face. So, but we as planners at the same time, we need to actually be very cautious about making sure that there's no, the pandemic can be actually tackled by actually making sure that people actually condone to all the SOPs given. So that is another challenge for the management of the colleges, because we have to make sure that everybody is actually prepared and everybody is vaccinated, so that all the surrounding within the premise a safe surrounding for everybody, not only for the kids but also for the teachers as well. Okay, so priority is given to cohort that will be sitting for final assessment as well to go first. And And another factor that we take into consideration in determining the cohort for face-to-face is the total number of students involved in each rotation, because we will have to practice social distancing. So the number of the students per cohort is also important, and to comply with social distancing. And for this period, when the time comes for face-to-face, students, we actually will require the teachers to complete their practical modules, which actually become a priority, because we assume that all these theoretical parts have been dealt with during home base, and when they come face-to-face, the total focus will be on actually the practical part. Okay, so that is what we have planned in actually facing the moment when the students can actually be back to college again. Thank you, Mr. Sanusi.
Yeah, thank you.
I've taken too long,
Madam
have I?
Hafizah, no problem. So we'll have listened to Mr. Oman and Madam Hafizah. Now, for the final speaker for this round, let us hear it from Dr. Muhammad Yanwar.
Thank you, Pak Haji Sanusi. In Polytechnic Caltech Riau, our Quality Assurance Department conduct a satisfaction survey to our students to obtain key information related to online learning that have been done, which later be used as our consideration in making future decisions. The survey has to be filled by the student unless they cannot access their academic system until it is fully filled. For example, in the beginning of class implementation, some lecturers provide online learning material, such as video simulation from third party on YouTube. But then we found out that our students complained about this because the simulation in some video are slightly different compared to facilities we have in campus. Therefore, we firstly encourage our staff to create our own simulation and tutorial by using our own facilities. Later, we oblige all of our staff to provide the materials by themselves, using the exact equipment that are used in campus. During this period, all labs were open, so the staff could get access to create the simulation and tutorials. To support them in making video content, Polytechnic Caltech Riau provided 3 days training for our staff to create digital materials that will be given in the class. So we divide the staff into several batches because we need to pay attention to maximum capacity limitation. The training that was given were animation software, video editing, and etc. We also allocated budget to compensate our staff in making digital learning materials. So after they upload their learning material, we give the compensation. It's not much, but it shows them we appreciate their time and effort. Together with the internet quota subsidy from government, we also give our student quota subsidy, which is funded from our operational budget rationalization. As I mentioned previously, online learning requires internet quota, especially in Indonesia, unlike in other developed countries where internet access is fairly distributed and probably free. Internet connection still can be an issue. That's why, along with the internet quota subsidy from the government, we also give our students additional quota to help them getting the access during the learning. We cooperated with cellular service provider in our region to have special offer, so we get bigger quota with less price. Speaking of student competence, We also try to do our best so they are not left behind too far. We allocated some time for them to be given makeup class or short training that will be conducted when a situation gets better. This has been done when students can go back offline. The labs were fully open on Saturday and Sundays to provide them the makeup class. Right now, this cannot be done because the COVID condition in Indonesia get worse day by day. But we are optimistic that we could cope with this plan. Although the pandemic is still here, we continued building new facilities for our students. Right now, we are building mechanical and electrical workshop facility, and it is the final process. In some ways, we are slowing down, but in other ways, where we could moving on, we surely will. Thank you.
Well, we have learned from our discussion that effective approaches and strategy differ from one country to another. Let us proceed to the round 4. What will be your advice for Tvet education institutions which are adversely affected by the pandemic? Madam Hafiza, we shall hear from you first. The microphone.
Okay, thank you. My advice for Tibet education institutions, yeah. What we learn from this crisis or this pandemic is that we have to be responsive and agile and resilient in facing unexpected event like this. We are caught off guard. Actually, we actually. From my perspective, underestimated this pandemic, and now it has stayed with us for the second year and is not looking positive right now. I think the same goes to Indonesia, but I'm not sure about Germany. Maybe Germany is getting better now in terms of the number of COVID patients. Yeah. So what I see is that we can learn lessons from this, and we should actually, this is from our perspective, that we should be given attention to actually, the first one is teachers and students' preparedness in facing this. So teachers and students actually, they were not adequately prepared for this transition from face-to-face learning to distance or online learning. So online teaching and online learning actually is not new. It has been here, but it is an option normally chosen by IT-savvy teachers and students and neglected by others because they actually were very complacent with the conventional way. But now, it is a must, and teachers actually should be made aware that they need to equip themselves with the ability of technology integration in teaching and learning. So that is one thing that we see. We need to actually create awareness for the preparedness of the teachers and the students and everybody actually. Okay, home-based or remote learning, online, offline learning is a new culture and a new norm for many of the teachers and students, and vocational colleges management, as well as us, division at MOE or BPLTV, we should be together and we should plan programs and training so that teachers, they become more aware and more educated of their responsibility and accountability in this new norm. We cannot allow the teachers to be frustrated and being put off by a lacking of skills in integrating ICT in their teaching and learning. Okay, second one is actually I look at teacher training or capacity building. So again, the management of colleges, Tvet colleges or schools, together with us at the division, we need to uplift the teacher training or capacity building content. We need to uplift, the approach should be very responsive to the changes and transformation, especially in this digital area. So we actually have to put aside the traditional or the conventional training modules for the teachers. We should actually come up with something that is up to date. So professional training modules to be developed, to train, to retrain and upskill teachers, and especially in coming out with e-learning content and pedagogical approach. And the third one is Tvet leadership. Tvet leaders at ministry level or institutional level should have strategic planning for how to actually together face or cope with the phases that we are facing now. For example, the current phase, the recovery period phase. So we need to have a plan on this, especially at the management level. And for example, the Ministry of Education Malaysia has come up with catch-up plan on addressing the management and delivery of this recovery period. So we are now actually we have completed in coming out with a catch-up plan to actually face the next phase. Okay, and the fourth one is learning resources. Institute should have central learning platform to host learning resources. Especially, I'm talking about the institutional context. Institute should have central learning platform to put all the content created by teachers and accessible to other teachers when in need. So we are more prepared and everybody can actually go. They know where to go and how to use the material or the learning resources, which actually some kind of a bank that put together, and this is more to material. And last one, I see, and I've written here for my note, is Tibet harmonization. I think this is happening now. We are with Malaysia, with Indonesia and Germany. We are trying to harmonize, and we should sit together regularly, and we need to collaborate strategically, and we can come up with a kind of Tvet. I've written here roadmap, but maybe it's smaller than roadmap. We can we can be together and create maybe e-learning content for Tvet programs that we as countries offer to our students. So we can sit together and we can come out, for example, with maybe Germany, as we all know, are very advanced in technology and digital. So maybe countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, we can be with Germany and share e-learning material for programs that we have. So that is my way of looking at Tvet harmonization. So maybe this is a beginning for us today. So maybe Tuan Haji Sanusi can arrange, and we have a workshop, or we have come together, get together again virtually, and we actually exchange ideas and exchange skills and technology, and we can actually share e-learning content for specific programs. Thank you. Back to you, moderator.
Mr. Homan, what will be your advice? Please share.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Shanuzi. My first advice is to set up rules, processes, systems to be used in a pandemic situation beforehand. And also during the pandemic, you know, at the moment we are in a period which is quite normal, but I'm very sure that in a few weeks, maybe in a few months, we again will get a shutdown. And so, as I told to my colleagues, we have to be prepared. And then we have to use our material, we have to use our processes, our rules, as in the last weeks and months. So we have to set up also information and communication channels. As I told you, we consistently use Microsoft Teams also in this period, especially for communication, also within the school, but also with students and our dual partners. My advice is also try to integrate these into daily routines of training and teaching, so that you can easily switch between digital and non-digital learning. This is very important. So maybe also according to the proposal of Ms. Hafiza, I think it would be important to set up a platform to share a digital teaching material. There's a lot of material which is provided by publishing companies here in Germany with very sophisticated approaches which can be used in digital, also in non-digital environments in the training. And I think maybe we should think about an international approach to share digital teaching material. You also have to make sure everybody is equipped appropriately. This is a very important question, beginning by the teaching staff, of course, but you also have to think about your students. There are a lot of students who are not able to finance appropriately equipment, so we have to think about support measures. And also, I talked about the school social work. For us, is a very important thing that supports the teachers very intensively. And so we decided when you go to establish such a broad system of school social work. I think digital learning is a more and more important support, but cannot be a replacement of face-to-face learning. It's rather a chance for easy and, I would say, a multi-channel participation and contribution, cooperation, as you see today, and collaboration without boundaries of place and time. I think we all should be prepared to include more digital learning phases into daily routines, prepare appropriate materials, learning contexts to be applied digitally, get used to and try to integrate the multiple options provided by cooperations and collaborations in form, for example, also of projects. During the pandemic, more and more we had an eye on the development in the industry and economy. So let's say what happens in the companies of our dual partners who are conducting the practical training. This was one of the reasons that we established Microsoft Teams, but because a lot of companies in Germany, for these companies, Teams is a common application for them. And we also decided about another question. We will introduce a mix of face-to-face and distance learning for the post-pandemic period. In our region, it is a quite remote region, so the students have to sometimes have to go about 50 kilometers to our school. It would be a useful mix so that they don't have to spend time in train or car or something like this. But this question depends on the preconditions of the programs and also of the institutions. And I think what is very important, always take pedagogical aspects into account, because many students were severely affected during the pandemic, and this is really a bottleneck concerning learning and also behavior during lessons and something like this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Tuan Haji, your microphone.
Okay, next, Dr. Muhammad Yanwar, what will be your advice for Tvet institutions?
Thank you. In my opinion, the priority that we need to have is to create an adaptive policy, strategy, and infrastructure for this kind of condition that might happen again in the future, although in the different form. We might be in the condition that forces us to decide something in a very short time. And of course, that requires good teamwork from all the management members. Some policies might not please everyone, and it's possible we will get rejection from our staff. We need to listen and to make sure that decision we make is well prepared. We need adaptive human resources, be it staff or student. Therefore, we need to prepare them to be ready even in the worst case. Digital learning definitely plays a very important role in this situation. We are no longer in the position of being encouraged to utilize digital learning, but we are forced to do so. The importance of providing well-accepted digital learning methods in this extent. It's just not about providing learning system digitally. It is also about the content. So trial and error is important here. At the moment, in some labs, especially in informatic labs, we conduct remote lab practice. This is to provide students the feeling of doing a lab work as if they are going to campus. So they can just do the lab practice remotely using their own PC or laptop, and they can access the PCs in our labs. Before the outbreak, the use of digital learning in our campus can only be conducted not exceeding 20% from the total learning. But now, the table turns. 100% of the learning are digital. If we just make everything digital without concerning student feedback, learning will become a very boring routine. I believe digital learning will become dominant in years to come, even when COVID is no longer a big issue. What we have started will be continued for several years to come, because digital learning is not only conducted to protect ourselves. Instead, it becomes a technology that enables us to deliver educational virtually. For example, what we are doing today. Previously, we might have the kind of meeting face-to-face, but now it is possible and it is acceptable to do this because the condition that forced us to do. I believe we also implement 3 A's: adapt, adopt, and adapt. Adapt means we need to be sensitive to any sudden changes. For example, When the outbreak forces us to change the system we are having, then we change health protocol, learning system, standard of quality, and so on. We have to be able to accept the condition that we have to change for our own good. Adopt means we implement the new system, curriculum, online learning, materials, facilities, procedure, habit, and etc. From those two A's, we become adept, which means we become able to we become able for we are used to do it. I believe we all have difficulties in coping with this new normal condition. But then we also need to see how far we have gone. We survive, we adapt, and we become better. Hard times create strong men. In every difficulty we are facing, there will always be help from the universe. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, wonderful. Our panelists have shared some insightful advice for us to consider and choose the best suit to our setting. Now, we have come to the end of our discussion. In 2 minutes, before we end our session today, I would like to ask each of our panelists to kindly summarize your points. Mr. Oman, would you please summarize your points, please?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Shanusi. The first lockdown caught us, I would say, cold-footed as digital teaching standards, procedures, and rules weren't prepared for a complete switch to digital learning. We made up for that very fast, introducing and integrating cloud-based systems and procedures based on Office of Microsoft 365, along with matching rules for information, communication, and cooperation. So we made a very, very important step. I would say in normal times, we needed about 2 years to complete this step. But now we are able to switch easily between digital and non-digital learning. We still, of course, have to work at teacher training and technical equipment. Our biggest problem at the moment is the flexibility and the ability of fast reactions, because our institution is government-founded and heavily regulated. But this is a very positive aspect of the pandemic. This is indeed called into question, and we are looking forward to the next month and also years, because a lot of things changed in a quite positive way. So thank you very much.
Next, shall we listen to Dr. Muhammad Yanwar?
Thank you. The COVID-19 pandemic has certainly affected every sector of our life. Education is one of the most affected one, especially in the institution which rely on the practice approach in their curriculum like Tvet institutions. But sure, we cannot just give up and let this pandemic slowing us down. During the situation, we are forced to push our creativity and collaboration. The governments, education institution, students, teachers, parents, and stakeholders. We are all responsible in keeping the spirit of learning to keep burning. In Indonesia itself, we are lucky enough because our government pays a very good attention to our education field. Partial subsidy is given for those students who are affected by this pandemic financially. Our governments also provide internet quota to help them in doing online learning. What we need to do in this situation is to adjust many things we could. We cannot just stick with our standard. There must be things to be sacrificed. These things, we keep going forward. Thank you very much.
Finally, Madam Hafiza, could you please sum up what we have discussed today?
Okay, thank you. I may sound a bit poetic this afternoon, yeah, for the last person to speak. We know that for the fact that digital actually cannot replace face-to-face, as Mr. Oman said. Digital cannot replace face-to-face for Tvet practical training. Nevertheless, let us change for the moment. We need to face the reality for the moment, and let us change negatives to positives, problems to challenges, and pandemic to possibility. So pandemic is something that is beyond our control, but we can control our response to the situation. So therefore, let us step up our skills, actions, approaches, and methods in facing the challenges ahead. And let's collaborate with each other and prepare a better solution together for the betterment of Tvet. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to all of our panelists and also our viewers. Our panelists have given us novel views and shared some insights into Tvet implementation in 3 different countries. And it is indeed a good experience sharing we have this afternoon. As we can see, each country has different methods of managing the issues that arise from the pandemic, yet we could also find some similarities in our approaches. But what we hope from today's forum is, how do we move on from here? How do we rebound from the crisis? How do we strategize our preparation so that we will be better equipped for future shock? We may not be able to find the absolute answers from 2 hours of experience sharing sessions, but this can be one of the platform for us to start looking for improvement, improvisations, innovation, and perhaps transformations. My heartfelt thank you and utmost gratitude to the Technical Vocational Training and Education Divisions, Vocational Colleges, and Technical School of Pahang Zone, our distinguished panelists from Indonesia and Germany for their joint support and contribution in this forum. Congratulations to CEO and Faculty of Sultan Ahmad Shah Vocational College and esteemed members for your perseverance in organizing this International Tibet Forum. For the viewers, I hope that the discussion has helped us discover approaches and strategies that are impactful for the benefits of Tibet institutions. On that note, we shall now adjourn our session. Till we meet again. Terima kasih. Dankeschön. Thank you.
I love the spirit.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Oman. Thank you, Dr. Yanwar.
Terima kasih.
Yeah, we should have this again.
Okay.
Puan Hafiza, thank you very much.
Yeah, same to you.
Dr. Yanwar, thank you very much.
Thanks for all the panels to give their ideas and the knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Devi.
You have a photo session, oh?
We have photo session, oh? Hold on. Let me ask the ICT the ICT team. Hold on, yeah.
Marina, well done.
Goodbye. See you. Have a nice weekend.
Same to you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Oman.
Mr.
Thank you.
Oman?
Bye.
Oh, Mr. Oman?
Yeah. Okay.
Could you please hold on for a while? We
Okay,
need
no
to
problem.
take pictures.
You want to take pictures? Okay.
Yeah. Hold on, yeah. All right, photo session. ICT team, let us know when to smile. Where is our moderator, Tuan Haji Shanusi?
We're waiting for Tuan Haji.
All right. Please turn on your camera or your video so that we can have a snapshot of everyone here. Mr. Raja Sigaran, would you mind? Turn on your camera.
This is the closest we can get now. So this is
Thank you, Marina.
This is the face.
This is considered face to face.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Raja.
Welcome.
All right.
Hi, Mr. Raja.
Hold on here. We are waiting for Mr. Shanusi.
How many of us now left?
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining our forum this afternoon, Mr. Raza.
Yes. Nickname Ayah Jak.
Sorry?
My nickname's Ayah Jak.
Ayah Jak.
Yes.
Oh, Ayah Jak. Okay, may I know where you're from? Are you from Malaysia or Indonesia?
Itu pengarah KPM Audition.
Okay.
Local.
Okay. All right.
Alright,
in the meantime.
Sanusi.
Okay. Please let us know, yeah? ICT team. In the meantime.
I just sound like Germany. That's why they confused. Well done, Marina. Well done, KV Science team. Well done.
Thank you very much for your support. I believe other KVs will also do the same after this. But of course, we need a lot of planning. In this case. Yes, Encik Muhammad Nazri.
Link untuk kehadiran saya ingat link ataupun keluar semula QR code tadi, QR punya.
Okey. Boleh.
Sorry.
Boleh Cik Nazri, selepas kita ambil gambar, kita bagi QR code lagi ya.
Alright, okay.
Okay, ready everyone?
Everyone, turn on your camera.
Okay. Mr. Oman.
Give the sweetest smile.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Sebuka kamera aku nak pakai baju ni.
Alright.
Okay, one more shot.
Freestyle.
Okay, freestyle. Smile, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will flash the QR code and also the attendance link for everyone to take note.
Terima kasih Cik Mazlan.
Marina, ada pertanyaan
Everybody,
dari...
thank you very much for the good program, with the good forum that we learn a lot of things that can useful for the teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a great
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, Tuan Sanusi.
Ya. Nanti Puan Hafizah kena tukarlah laptop.
Ini desktop kat office.
Tukar.
Desktop kat office.
Aduh.
Puan Hafizah punya sijil Bukan digital memang akan dapat tanda tangan original lagi.
Alright, okay.
Tapi kan Fafiza, thank you very much.
Very good speech.
Now I feel hungry.
Samalah tadi tak nak makan. Tapi kan Fafiza, thank you very much tau. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much
Pak
for the
Yanuar.
preparations that you
Pak
have
Yanuar,
done.
nanti kita jumpa lagi ya. Ketemu lagi kita nanti.
Siap Pak. Baik. Bu
Bisa
Marina,
kita ketemu lagi.
Thank you Dr.
Okay.
Yanuar.
Terima kasih Bu Hafiza.
Yeah. It's
Bu
nice.
Marina, ada pertanyaan dari peserta Indonesia.
Ya saya.
Terkait card identification number.
Apa dia?
Di isian di QR code tadi kan ada isian tentang
IC number
identification card number. Itu diisi.
Ready.
Kalau di Indonesia, identity card,
KTP
ya. Oke.
Ya.
KTP.
Tidak ada pembatasan jumlah ini.
Tidak ada.
Tak ada.
Oke, sip. Baik.
InsyaAllah, mudah-mudahan. Terima kasih lah Pak Yanuar. Ini amat membantu nih.
Pak Haji Sanusi.
Kita bukan berhenti di saja. Nanti kita tengok dalam grup kita, banyak saya mau terangkan di situ.
Kita kalau bisa bikin MOU Pak Haji Sanusi.
Ya, bisa. Kita boleh MOU, bisa.
Kita bisa menukar pelajar ataupun mungkin lecture gitu.
Ya, seperti yang kita bincang dulu, yang saya mungkin kita andurkan pertukaran pelajar sama Oman juga. Pertukaran pelajar dan guru di sana. 3 orang di sana, kita bertiga bertukar-tukar.
Oke. Baik.
Jangan lupa kami Tuan Haji Sanusi, jangan bertiga aja.
Jangan bertiga aja.
Kita pastinya Pak Ali pasti.
Bertiga aja tak bagus. Bertiga aja.
Bukan, kita boleh bertiga
Kalau bertiga nanti mati seorang.
Ini TS Man Ali ni. Teknologi
Ya,
Ali.
saya.
Kalau yang ini bisa lebih dari 4.
Masya Allah. Okey Pak Yanuar, terima kasih ya.
Terima kasih.
Permisi Pak,
Terima kasih Pak Yanuar.
Baik, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Yanuar, thank you very much.
Terima kasih Bu Marina.
Sama. Saya. Terima kasih.
Pak Yanuar macam sayang je nak leave.
Bu Hafiza, terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih. Nanti jumpa lagi.
Ya.
Okey.
Baik.
Ramai lagi tak? Oh, ada lagi 36. Tak boleh cakap karut-karut.
Okay, I leave. Thank you very much.
Sanusi.
Cik, I leave. Siapa ni?
Sanusi macam wrestling.
Apa dia?
Macam wrestling.
Kenapa Puan bisa cakap macam wrestling? So, dia apa tu
Round 2.
Cara dia panggil.
Round 2.
Cara dia panggil untuk jawab kan?
Puan Fiza, kita ada 1 minit lagi tau. Lepas tu dia akan shut off. Sorry.
It's okay. Tapi yelah kan kita tak dapat tukar the background. Thank you Cik Bazlan. Cik Bazlan masih lagi ingat kita kan?
Cik Bazlan kat mana?
Kat PPD. Saya tolong jawab. Cik Bazlan kat PPD sekarang.
Dah bukan MS lagi ya. Okey. Patutlah. Saya teringat tapi terlupa langsung. Puan Fiza, terima kasih banyak tau.
Okay.
Tolong kami. Saya pergi banyak